Hey guys, how you doing? Hope y'all had a good week. It's nice to see y'all again. Milena's with me. She's on audio only tonight.
Hey
So,
guys.
okay, so like normal, I'm gonna catch up real quick on everybody who's here right now. Uh, Mr. A, Mr. A's here already. Milena, look at that. So,
Mr. A, let's go.
Mahomes Legion, welcome. Tyree, thanks for being here. Jake, how are you doing, man? Uh, 100% dork. Nice screen name. I like it. Steven, hey man. My brother's here. Sissy Chubbs. Nightwalker, what's up? David Martin, hey, how you doing? Uh, See it twice is here.
Thomas Allen.
Thomas, my dad's here. Yep. The red coat has arrived.
Red coat. Yeah.
One of these nights we'll get this guy to call the show. So, Luke, how you doing, man? All right. So, the very first question I have is how in the hell does the Patriots not know who the starting quarterback is? I mean, is there any realm of possibility that you're thinking about starting Brian Hoyer? I just don't believe that. I don't think that's something that they're going to do. The only thing I can think of for playing this game and keeping up this pretense that they don't know who is the starter uh, is just to make Denver prepare for Hoyer. Because here's the thing, I don't see how that would change Denver's preparation. To be honest with you, I'm sure they've already come to the question of will they who will they start, and they're pretty certain it's going to be Jarrett Stidham. If you prepare, here's Denver's position. If you prepare for Jarrett Stidham, it's not like that game plan's not going to work for Brian Hoyer. I mean, it's not like Brian Hoyer is going to do anything that's suddenly better than Jarrett Stidham or something that's just going to be out of nowhere. Okay, it's not the same thing as preparing for Cam Newton and then you get Brian Hoyer, or preparing for Brian Hoyer and then you get Cam Newton. It's not like that. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So, yeah. Hey, Elliot. Um, Ravens, Ray Lewis. Yeah, Cam can't play. He's not even active. So, yeah, they're gonna keep him out for a while. I hear it's a deadly cold. I hear that the cold is vicious. So, that was sarcastic. If anybody didn't catch that, but as long as he's, I guess situation. Well, actually, you know what? I shouldn't say that because it's not even about how sick he is. It's actually about how contagious he is. So, there's that. So, I do need to consider that, I guess. But every week we have a Chiefs fan in here. It's makes you wonder if it's the same person each time, just with different names. But yeah,
Really?
right? I mean, don't you get that feeling?
Yeah.
All right. But
Same type of comments.
before we get into all that, I just want to say something. Okay, this is just to get it off my chest. You guys know how when something bugs me, I just have to say something. But I was on the NFL.com earlier today. And as you guys have heard me since the beginning of this show, I'm sure, I am sick of sports doing these foundations and causes, okay? I want to get rid of it all, okay? I want to get rid of everything. No BLM demonstrations or support of that. No cancer support. No military support. None of that, okay? Just nothing. Just nothing at all. Just football. Just stick to football. Because even if you like the military thing, let's say, even for the military thing, do you know that the military had to pay the NFL to do that? The NFL isn't doing that because they're I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. No, that is not what they're doing. Okay? They're doing that because they were paid. The original point of that whole military thing that we see now, that was paid for by the military in order to increase recruitment. So no, the NFL didn't do that out of the goodness of their heart or because they were such good patriotic Americans. With that same logic and train of thought there, do you really believe that they're just helping out breast cancer awareness? No. So I want to put it like this. Actually, hold that thought. One moment, guys. One moment, guys. I apologize just for a second. Okay, guys. Sorry about that. So we have our first super chat of the night is Mr. A. Look who's back, guys. So we got a $20 super chat. Damn, dude. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. He says, "Let's go." Ooh, sorry. I should have given you a warning, huh? All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Man. I appreciate it so much. You've been so awesome. I really appreciate it, man. And, Mr. A, he's now my oldest, largest contributor. He's not quite the oldest. There's a guy who's beaten him by a month, named Guy. But as far as I believe, Shaq is sorry, not Shaq. Mr. A is the first. The first one to pick the really big one, and then Shaq was right after that, actually. And what a coincidence, because Shaq is next on the super chat. $5 super chat. Thank you, man. I appreciate it, Shaq. He says, "Speaking of NFL.com, did you hear they suspended Ian Rappaport 2 weeks for posting an ad for manscaping?" Okay. Yes, and we'll get to that. Now, actually, since you super chatted, I might as well get to it real fast. Now, this isn't the reason he got suspended. Ian Rappaport got suspended because, well, the real reason is that he posted a photo of the Titans practice that revealed that they were not going with they were doing things that they shouldn't be doing. Basically, they were doing things against the COVID rules, and what it really tells you is that they were secretly practicing, and the NFL knew about it. So the NFL was breaking their own COVID rules. That just and so they got mad at him because he posted a picture of that when he wasn't supposed to. Now, this just shows you how hypocritical the NFL is, guys, because it's all window dressing, all of it. All of it is just complete and utter bullshit. When the announcers sitting far away from each other and wearing Chris Collinsworth wearing a mask, and then the whole Sunday Night Football broadcast, he's like this. Oh my God, did you see Patrick Mahomes? I want to stick my cock up his ass. You know, I mean that's Chris Collinsworth, and if he wasn't bad enough, it being muffled is even more annoying. But that's all bull crap. And that shows you right there that the NFL breaks their own rules. So they had to get rid of poor little Ian Rappaport for 2 weeks to teach him a lesson. Okay? So, no. They've known that he was endorsed by Manscaped, okay, for a very long time. And they didn't do it. I mean, nothing came about it, right? This is just a perfect excuse. That's what they're using in order to cover up the fact that they suspended him for basically outing them. Basically, this is the NFL commissioner equivalent of when Hillary Clinton got caught using her emails for her personal email for defense records, and as Secretary of State, she was getting classified information. She didn't get upset because she was caught. She got upset because someone exposed her. And this is what the NFL is doing. So they got caught. But Ian Rappaport wasn't even trying to expose them. It was a complete accident. He was just doing his job, okay, as a reporter. So that's what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when you do your job as a reporter, okay? But there you go. There's your real reason why Ian Rappaport has been suspended. Do not believe it is about manscaping. That is stupid. He's had that endorsement for a while. So, pretty freaking pathetic. The NFL is so... think about it, guys. They knew that Ray Rice had knocked his girlfriend out in an elevator. They knew that he punched her and knocked her out. And they gave him 2 games. Okay? They said, 2 games because we didn't have a video. Well, just knowing about the incident is bad enough. How do you only get 2 weeks for that? That's what I don't understand. Some random Patriots fan. You're just to catch you guys up if you just joined. Ian Rappaport was suspended for 2 weeks, and they said that it was for posting a Manscaped advertisement. Now, for you guys who don't know, Manscaping is a company that specializes in male hygiene products. So basically, like shaving downstairs and keeping that groomed and all that stuff. Okay, so it's usually it's usually associated with comical advertisements. But they're trying to say that that's why they suspended him, but that is not why. That is not why. They suspended him because he reported on the Titans practicing when they shouldn't have been. Well, to the public they shouldn't have been, but the NFL knew about it and they sanctioned it, and they just didn't want it getting out. So they suspended their own guy because he reported the truth, and he didn't even mean to do anything wrong. He just thought he was doing his job. And apparently he didn't get the memo that the NFL are pieces of shit. Okay, apparently he wasn't in the loop, and they didn't tell him. So, yeah, the NFL are hypocrites, definitely. But yeah, with the Ray Rice thing, they didn't care. They gave him two weeks for that. Just the knowledge of the event alone is worth way more than what they gave Tom Brady. They gave Tom Brady 4 games for something that didn't even exist. And it wasn't until a video came out about Ray Rice that they did something about it. Or how about when the NFL held on to information about CTE for years? Okay, this wasn't like 1 year that they knew about this. They knew about it for a very, very long time. Okay, the report that came in from the pathologist, Bennett Amalu, that had been established in the early to mid 2000s. It didn't come out until way later, and then once it came out, they needed a scapegoat, kind of like Ian Rappaport was a scapegoat here. But the NFL scapegoat for CTE was the New Orleans Saints. They needed somebody to blame it on, so they said, oh, the New Orleans Saints are having bounties and all this stuff. We're trying to take player safety seriously. You know? Okay. But yeah, it's pretty bad. Remember Deflategate, guys? You remember how that came about? Back then, when of course I didn't have Gone Out Sports when Deflategate came out, but I called it Deflectgate. I called it Deflectgate because that happened the same year that he botched the Ray Rice incident. That was the same year that they were on under fire big time for CTE. That was the same year that everybody was saying that Roger Goodell is out, that he is done. There's no way he can recover from this. No commissioner can recover from a year that he had. So, how does Roger Goodell come back from that? How does the league come back from that? And remember, when I say Roger Goodell is the owners. So always keep that in mind. When I say Roger Goodell, it means the owners. He is just their mouthpiece. He's the figurehead. He's the head of the snake, but he's basically controlled by the owners. So if he's doing it, it means the owners approved of it. Or actually, not all of them, but certain few, that the certain powerful ones. But he needed a distraction. He needed to get the NFL headquarters out of the fire of the press and all the negative attention. So what does he do? They go, I know. Let's start a scandal with the team that everyone hates. And let's pick the player that everyone hates. So they created the most absurd accusation I think that's ever been put on an athlete. And it was the biggest circus. And that right there, I didn't have much faith in the NFL, especially after the way they handled Spygate. And then after the way they handled Bountygate was even worse. I thought was even more pathetic because they're sitting there punishing the Saints. Their head coach gets suspended a year. You're out there doing the job that you're supposed to be doing, which is hard hits. Now, just don't forget, guys, that when the New Orleans Saints were doing these things, the NFL was posting clips of these hard hits on their NFL YouTube and on their website in order to get clicks, in order to get advertising. Nice, right? But once Deflategate came along, I knew that this was a complete joke, and they were the biggest hypocrites of all time. I mean, why? If they're so worried about keeping to a moral line here, however they want to put it, Why did Tyreek Hill not get punished? Just curious. The dude is on tape. He's on tape talking about beating the crap out of his kid and his girlfriend. I guess she's a girlfriend or wife, whatever. So Kareem Hunt gets into an altercation with a girl who was clearly there. Okay, he inadvertently, well, not inadvertently, I guess he tried, but he kind of half-assed kicked this girl on camera. But it's worth noting that that girl with the Kareem Hunt incident, that girl went there to start trouble. She went there to try to get that incident going in order to probably cash in somehow. But they completely cut Kareem Hunt for that. They say it was because he lied or whatever, but I don't believe that. I think they cut him because there was film. But then Tyreek Hill is on tape actually doing something which is probably most people might consider actually worse. But because there's no visual, because there's no videotape that the public goes, oh my God, can you believe that? Then all's good. And after all, we can't take away all of Mahomes' weapons because what would he do then, you know? So there's a different standard for certain people and certain players and certain teams. You have the Steelers, for example, who can cheat, who can do all kinds of crazy stuff and never get touched. And the reason they don't ever get touched is because their owner hides behind the defense of, I created the Rooney Rule, so I'm special, so we get special treatment. Or when you're Amara and you're from Wellington Mara's family for the Giants, and you get to do whatever you want. It's okay. Your quarterback, Eli Manning, your quarterback can get involved in a scandal where they were ripping off fans by selling them game-worn merchandise that had never seen the field. Okay? Could you imagine if Brady had done that? Could you imagine? Imagine if Tom Brady was selling off to fans for thousands of dollars jerseys that were game-worn but never were worn at all. My God. I mean, if you think it was bad because some made-up thing about air in footballs, which is completely absurd. Okay? Imagine if he was caught cheating the fans out of their money. But you never heard of that, did you? And if you did, it was very brief. So when you have, of course, we're not going to have a video of Eli Manning doing that, but when you have a video, it becomes a public issue. Do you guys really believe that the NFL has not seen the recording of Ray Rice? Do you really believe that? No. The difference is it went public. That's the difference. And that's what happened here to poor little old Ian Rappaport. Poor guy. We have another super chat. 10 pounds. Jason Patrick Saunders, the red coat. Hey, thanks, man. He says 1,500 hours and still working on stuff, but got VAS on, so all good. Keep working hard, my man. Keep working hard. I want to see you get that job at NASA. We're all pulling for you, dude. I really hope so. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Thank you. Oh, Sissy Chubbs, you've never heard of that? Yeah, I'm not surprised that you've never heard of that. Like I said, there's certain. If you've got the last name Manning, you're okay. You can be Peyton Manning, and you can put your balls in the face of a female trainer. You can be Peyton Manning, and you can have HGH mailed to your wife. Okay? Yeah. You can have HGH mailed to your wife, and then you can tell everybody, Peyton is like, oh, well, man, that HGH wasn't for me. It was for my wife. She was taking it in order to get pregnant. Yeah, okay, Peyton, that's a great excuse, but Your wife gave birth to twins a long time before these accusations were made about you being mailed HGH. Well, it wasn't about pregnancy. I was wrong. Actually, she was taking it because she was trying to do some anti-aging stuff. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you pivot. Okay? And because he's Peyton Manning and he does some funny commercials on TV and he says, cut that meat and crap like that. And because he's funny at the ESPYs, and trust me, he's great. He's good at that. He's untouchable. It's a lot different when everyone loves you. When everyone thinks you're perfect. So, but Tom? No. Sorry. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about right here. Mahomes Legion, you said Tom Brady cheated a lot of times. When? When? Please tell me when Tom Brady has cheated. I'd like to know. So, yeah. No? Oh, I'm sorry, because I don't know of any scandals of Tom Brady ripping off the fans. I don't know of any scandals of Tom Brady having HGH and shit mailed to his house. Okay, I don't know of Tom Brady beating up Giselle or Bridget Moynihan or Ivanka Trump for that matter. I don't know. Tara Reid. No? No? Okay. Yeah, I've never heard of that. Yes, thank you, Elliot. Thank you. If you want to look at cheaters, I think historically the Denver Broncos are probably the most cheating team in NFL history. But if you want to talk about being immune to getting in trouble, it is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have never seen anything like it. This team can do whatever they want. Okay? And that, my friends, is because that's what happens when you are from a family that has been around for so long that you're virtually untouchable. So. Nice. Okay, I'm not even going to dignify that with a response. That's just idiotic. Wow. Okay. But going back to my original rant about the NFL and their causes, okay? How should I put this? They'll, as you guys know in the past, they'll take a month, and that's supposed to be that month or special for that month, right? What if I invite you over to my house, okay? I say, hey man, come on over, bring the family, come on over, bring your kids, they'll play with my kids, and whatever, right? And everyone comes over for a family get together, and you're playing Monopoly or Trivial Pursuit or some kind of board game. Everyone's having a good time and laughing, okay? And then in the middle of the game, you stop it, okay? And you say, hang on. Don't roll that dice, lady, okay? No, stop. I want you guys to listen to me. I know we're having fun, and I know we're having a great time. But I just want you to be aware of breast cancer. Okay? I want you guys to be aware. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So in case you didn't know, Now you do. Would anyone like to share any stories of someone in their family dying of cancer before we continue our game night? Oh, okay. How about this then? Why don't we talk about our fallen soldiers in war getting shrapnel thrown at them? No, you don't want to talk about that? Okay. How about we talk about police brutality? Anyone talk about that? Anyone would like to share? No, no, no. Okay. Well, just in case y'all know, yeah, my grandpa has very big balls, and he might have prostate issues or something. Okay. I know that's horrifying. I'm sorry. Okay, let's get back to the board game. Let's get back to having some fun. Okay. Seriously. If you did that, everyone would be looking at you like, what is this? What the hell is wrong with you, dude? And that is basically what they're doing in the NFL. So I go to their website, and this is what I find. NFL Films presents National Gay Flag Football. Okay. What the hell is that? What does that even mean? Gay people have their own football league? Is there a reason? I mean, like, I understand a women's football league, but isn't a gay dude still a dude? I just don't understand this. And then this. Look at this. NFL celebrates National Coming Out Day. Okay, I didn't even know that was a thing, but whatever. Pride Series. See all this. Look at all these videos. Trailblazer and all this stuff. Okay. I don't give a flying crap if you're gay. I do not care. It is your business, man. No problem. Whatever. That's not my issue here.
The bedroom is none of our issue, right?
No, not as long as it's not, illegal. But
Yeah.
but my problem here, again, it's like with the military. I love the military. Nobody's more pro-military, American military than me. But I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say, oh, I don't want the other stuff, but I want to keep the other. I don't want one thing, but I want to keep that. You can't do that. It's either all or nothing. It's like nobody can be doing this stuff, or then anything goes. And this is what I'm talking about. I didn't even know that this was a problem. Okay? I sincerely believe that if there's a football player who's gay, his teammates are not going to treat him like crap. Do we really need an awareness month? It's just... Who cares? I mean, they're gay. Yeah, so what? Good for you. All right? Here's what I need to know. If you're a gay football player, I need to know this. I have the most important question for a gay football player. I'll walk up to him and I'd say, can you get to the quarterback? Can you make a kick? Can you throw the football? Can you run the football? Are you a winner? That is what I need to know. I do not plan on asking you what you do at home. I do not plan on asking you or needing to know about your life. Okay? Whatever, man. Whatever. Just play some football. help the team win, and that's it. But this whole NFL getting their hands into everything. I mean, what is it going to be next? I just, this is why, this is the problem. They're so worried about other stuff that has nothing to do with the game. It's just insane. I mean, we don't go around talking about being straight. Okay? I just don't understand it. Whatever. It's just, at this point,
Yeah. Or what do you feel like if you like, for example, threesomes and stuff? Are you gonna say, okay, let's do the League of Polygamy or something?
oh yeah, yeah.
Will
Oh,
that
you
have
wait,
to
wait, Milena. You didn't know that November coming up is polygamy month. You didn't know that
Caligula?
a month, and December, funnily enough, and it's always been this way, but we just need to start celebrating it. So December for the NFL is going to be, well, cheating on your girlfriend and cheating on your husband month. It's going to be orgy month, basically. So that's what we're going to get. It's completely out of control. The last thing a bunch of dudes in a locker room want to do is be given interviews about this stuff. Nobody wants to talk about this stuff. Nobody. It's private. It's personal. Okay? Dude, it's not 1970. It's not 1950. It's not 1930. This is, yeah, okay. You're gay. Fine. Good for you. What do you want? Do you want an applause? Okay? Do you want a bow? Do you want like a present? What do you want? What do you want from me? A gay football league? A gay flag football league? Just unbelievable. Okay? Unfucking believable. Sorry. Whoops. Sorry. Anyway, okay. Oh man.
Crazy.
You guys are funny. I guess it would give the whole new meaning to the positions of tight end and wide receiver. But who knows? Anyway, just Jesus. Yes, I remember the lingerie football league. Yeah. Didn't they change the name from that though? They got some crap or whatever for it. Elliot says save orgy month for February. Okay. February. Shaq. Oh God, this is so true. He says the real problem is the NFL is full of 80 to 100-year-old white crusty dudes who don't have a clue what the year 2020 entails. No, they are so out of touch that even when they try to do social justice and when they try to do things like this, they do it wrong because they're so out of touch with everything. They don't even realize that it's not even a problem. They're making something a problem that's not a problem. It's just, why are you even mentioning this? Why are you even bringing it up? It's just so bizarre. Okay. Sorry, I had to just get that out off my chest because I am just tired of this month and that month and whatever awareness month. I am just sick of it all. Just none of it, okay? None of it. Just, I'm willing to sacrifice because I like the military month personally. I think it's cool the way they blend in the camo with the. Actually, I got a perfect example. Like this right here. This is a scarf with the American flag mixed with the camouflage. So And I think that's pretty cool when you do the football jerseys like that and the hats and everything. I personally like it, but I'm willing to give it up to get rid of everything else. Okay? Let's just not do it anymore. Let's just make this about football, about the game. Okay? Let's make it about the game. When we buy a ticket to a football game, do you guys have any of you guys have ever been to a football game? There's one thing that you will know instantly. The people around you that you've never even met are suddenly your friends. They are instantly your friends. You feel that immediately. Okay? You're cheering on for the same team. It doesn't matter who they are. The guy next to you, you could be white, they could be black, you could be straight, they could be gay, whatever it is, okay? But the moment the Patriots or the Ravens or the Chiefs or whoever your team is scores a touchdown, everybody's high-fiving, everybody's getting along, everyone's saying, dude, awesome, okay? That's what happens at football games. That's what happens at sporting events. It's a camaraderie thing. You mess that up when you make it all awkward for everybody. Okay? So now you got the national anthem thing, which has everyone in the crowd like, okay, what do we do now? Do we stand? Or if you don't stand, or the players are like, if I kneel or I don't kneel, I'm going to be interviewed and then I'm going to get in trouble. If I don't, or if I do, I'll get in trouble. It's just a big mess. Just enough already. Just the game. Let's just focus on the game. Sports brings people together. Sports, I mean, my God, guys, every time there's a Summer Olympics, every 4 years when we have Summer Olympics, our country, people are happy, excited, and that should tell you something right there. You'll never see diplomacy done as well as you do at the Olympics. It's just, that just shows you what sports can do, okay? Do I want the Lakers or Heat to win the NBA Finals? Well, can they both lose? Is there a way to do that? Hmm. Okay, well, if I have to pick, I guess I'd say the Heat. I can't stand LeBron James. I cannot stand him. I think he's a garbage human being. I think he is a piece of freaking crap. Can't stand him. So, yeah, I want him to lose all the time. I'm not gonna. Uh, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna pretend. So, all right. Well, I think I've made my feelings clear on that. So, Milena, you had told me earlier in the day that you had watched something between Skip and Shannon. What was that regarding?
Uh, I guess early I was watching the some feedback about, the game, the last game, Patriots game, and whether if Cam was actually given a shot, if he would be winning the game. And is that what you're referring to?
No, you were something about Tom Brady throwing an interception versus Patrick Mahomes. Because you remember you were telling me that when I was setting up, so I didn't hear all of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're referring to that interaction that I was watching exactly, where Skip was saying that Mahomes was not so great, at the game, and then they got into. He said that sometimes he's good, and I agree he's great at some games, but he's not that great in other games. So, for example, with the Chargers and then with the Pats last week,
Yeah.
like in the Pats game, he had a QBR of what, like around 60 or so, just which is a bit about average, and his worst of the year. And
Yeah, a
then
60, a 60 is probably a little below a league average, but yeah.
yeah, and even at the Super Bowl, he had like 64, which again is just a little bit about average. Um, and and then yeah, they got into it, like, Skip and Shannon got into it. Of course, Shannon was putting Brady down all the time,
Typical.
and he said, yeah, typical. He said, because they were talking about the Super Bowl and the third quarter when um, Mahomes threw an interception, right? Um, and I think that's, yeah, and then basically Shannon was like, well, I know someone else who did that, etc., etc. So yeah, they were really getting into it, but it's just a typical conversation that it's kind of staged up, actually.
Okay, so no real revelations there, just basically the same crap over and over again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right,
Okay.
right.
Well, see, they play this game where Skip defends Brady, and then
Yeah,
Shannon hates on Brady, but then Shannon likes, let's say, Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers, and then so naturally Skip will resist that. It's just a whole big ridiculous thing. But
yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I've heard. Here's the thing. I've heard Shannon Sharp talk about Brady privately, and what I mean by privately is off the
Hmm.
show, as Shannon Sharp, not as the character, you know, Uncle Shay or whatever you want to call him, as he calls himself. Yeah, he doesn't. He thinks that Tom is the goat. So that just shows you how fake it is and how ridiculous they are. So
It's quite fake, and just, Shannon, for example, repeats all the time. He kind of repeats the same thing. He says, "Skip this, skip, skip, skip." It just keeps repeating that name, even just so,
come on, Skip.
um, you know, yeah. Oh, Skip, man.
Come on, Skip.
Yeah, and it's just always
Skip.
making pretty much the same points.
Skip. Come on, Skip. Skip. I mean, if you played a drinking game
What?
during one
Mhm.
episode and you took a shot every time he says skip, you would die of alcohol poisoning. Seriously.
Yeah, exactly. He's saying like skip three times in a sentence. Um, and then the other discussion was about, the opponent of both, Mahomes' last game and Brady's last game. How do they compare? And certainly you can see how, which one was the stronger defense, which one was the weaker defense. But Shannon just kept on ignoring that, as usual, to make his,
Well,
Brady kind of hate thing.
yeah. Well, the thing is that the thing of it is, if you guys watch Twilight Zone, you'll get that reference. The thing of it is,
Yeah.
um, the fact that they're comparing like these haters, like Max and Shannon's character, for example, the fact that
Hmm.
they keep holding Tom Brady to the standard against like Wilson or Mahomes or someone like that just shows you how they really feel about Brady, and either they don't even realize they're doing it or maybe they do, but they still think of Tom Brady as 27-year-old Tom Brady or 28-year-old Tom Brady. When you say, oh, well, Mahomes didn't do that, but Tom Brady did, you understand you're talking about a 43-year-old man. A 43-year-old man, and you're having to say that, oh, Mahomes played a little better that week. Yeah, they present it as an indictment on Brady. That's actually an indictment against the other guys. They should be outplayed. They should not be outplayed by a 43-year-old man, even the GOAT. Okay, and not only should they not be outplayed by him, but even if they outplay him, it shouldn't be that close. And the fact of the matter is, he's still up there. Brady's still there, and that is remarkable in itself. But you're not going to be... Listen, the hatred for Tom Brady is so massive. It is so insane that he could be 75 out there. And I'm dead serious. He could be old as hell and be out there, and they would be talking junk. I mean, it won't make a difference. I thought by now, but years ago, I'm talking like when he was 37, 38, I thought, when Tom hits 40, he'll get the old guy treatment, which means everybody likes him now. Nobody hates on him, because when a player gets to 40, gets up there in age or gets close to it, the fans tend to support them more. You know what I mean? It's like some kind of respect for your elders kind of thing. And it's like when Brett Favre, he started reaching a certain age, no one really hated Favre anymore. Even former opponents or opposing fans kind of just chilled out on hating him. And I thought Tom would get that. Peyton got that treatment as well. But Tom...
But look at Tom. Like last week, was it? He put a new record. What was it? Best offensive. He had, he threw 5 touchdowns and all that. Like, he put in a new record against himself. So
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He could break the touchdown record this year, and they'll find a problem with it. Okay? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I will tell you one thing about that game on Thursday night. The Buccaneers game against the Bears. That was not lost because of Brady. That was a team-wide failure. If they don't make the mistakes, okay, and I'm including Tom's miscalculation on the downs.
Yes,
I'm including that. Okay, so that's a major screw up. But that, along with all the penalties, if you take away just even half of that, they win that game. And that's how you can tell that a lot of this stuff was self-inflicted. It was strange, odd behavior for a professional football team.
Discipline.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing how many, how unorganized they were and how many penalties they got.
Yeah.
And also, it's still not clear to me if this was purely Tom's miscalculation or confusion, what they say, or he had someone talking in his ear, which still would have, even if someone told him the wrong thing in his earpiece, he still could have made the right call and figured that this was the 4th down. So I'm not completely justifying it, but there's that doubt out there that there's not for certain that he wasn't, he hadn't heard something.
Well, unfortunately, we can only go by what he said, and he didn't say much about it. other than the fact that he screwed up. Like he
Yeah.
didn't mention that there was anyone in his ear, or he didn't mention
Hmm.
why he was confused. He kind of just said, "Yeah, I went for extra yardage when I should have went for the first down." So
Right.
uh, I know what you're saying though. That something else could have happened, but he's not. That's the thing about Tom. He's not going to throw anybody under the bus. He's not
Exactly.
going
Yeah.
to blame anyone else. He'll blame himself. But until he says
Like the
otherwise, or
Bucks.
until we know otherwise, I really can't. I think honestly, I just think he got lost, and it happens,
It's
man.
possible.
It happens. Like I said,
With
I
all
said
these
this on
concussions and
right. I said it on Thursday night after the game that if you want to talk about these mistakes, I could point every quarterback in the league and I could show you where they've done something like that. Everybody has done that. All quarterbacks have
right.
done stuff like that.
Hey, so
So,
Tom Brady's human after all.
well, I wouldn't go that far. I would say what happened to Tom was more of a short circuit in his programming, you know, or
Mhm.
or maybe the mothership was sending a signal that got interfered with from his home planet. But but
The
yeah,
cyborg kid.
something like that. Yeah, or one of his cybernetic implants malfunctioned. But yeah,
Right. Yeah.
no,
That's more
but
likely, actually.
it was a screw up. But
Yeah. Yeah, he wouldn't throw anyone under the bus like the Bucks coach did um, in the beginning of the season when he threw him under the bus, and then we found out that that wasn't even true. It wasn't Tom's mistake. It was the coach's mistake. He admitted it, but I'm sure people don't pay attention to that. They're still blaming Tom.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, Bruce Arians he he blamed both of the picks on Tom when only one was Tom's fault. The other one was not. It was the receiver's fault. But then the Bruce Arians came out later and said
Yeah.
that was the case. That so he tried to correct it. But as a head coach, you can't do stuff like that because you haven't seen the tape. Watching a game in real time, especially at field level, is hard to determine everything that happened. There's a lot of things you're going to miss. And even as fans, we've got the perfect view on television. We've got every camera angle. We've got the commentators discussing what happens. And we still miss stuff. There's still things that we have to go back and look at. So he should have kept his mouth shut regarding that. And he should have just done the typical, I got to see the tape. I got to see the tape. I need to know what happened first. So, because he's going to have a conference the next day anyway. So he'll be able to talk about it more, give more insight into what really happened. But I people think that I hate Patrick Mahomes. Okay? And I get that. I understand because I've made a lot of videos that include him. My problem is not with Patrick. My problem is with the commentators and all the people who are disrespecting other quarterbacks in order to propel him up to this high level. And I'm not a fan of tearing someone down in order to promote the other person. I don't like that. I've never liked it. I think it's ridiculous. And
Hmm. That's
they
he's
don't
just overhyped.
right. But actually, if you are a fan of Mahomes, let's say you're a commentator at ESPN and you're a fan of Mahomes, you really do like him. The one thing you don't want to do is put him up on a high pedestal. Do you know why? Because when he falls off of it, that's a long way down. All right? It's a long way down because you're going to have to. What it does is that when Patrick goes out and has a good game, it means nothing anymore. It has no meaning at all because they've set the expectations so high that anything short of just absolutely just spectacular is going to be seen as okay, who cares? It also kind of turns the fan base against you as well. So I've never understood this kind of. It's
I don't
also,
know. What,
I'll say it. That's why I don't like Skip Bayless. Okay, the way he defends Tom Brady makes me cringe. He says stupid crap. Okay, he says things that make no sense and are completely just out of left field. That it's absolutely ridiculous. He'll say dumb things that put Tom in a hole. Like, oh, Tom can play with guys from Walmart and stuff like that. And when we have said that, just as fans, we say it jokingly. We don't literally mean that. But that Skip actually means it. Like, he's serious. He even says he's serious. And that is just so. I'm like, my God, man. Why do you do stuff like that? Why do you do stuff like that? And then he insults other quarterbacks to make his point. Like, he'll say, well, Tom Brady, the reason Tom Brady is so great because the other quarterback sucks. Or the other quarterback, I mean, why do you have to do that? Why can't you just state your case for Brady without going to the extreme of saying Aaron Rodgers sucks or Patrick Mahomes sucks? Because then that statement nullifies your compliment to Brady. When you say things that are that stupid, that they suck, you've lost all credibility. So when you compliment Tom, no one's going to care. No one's going to believe you. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. hmm and also this conversation about the goat, who's the goat. It's funny because the way they're looking at it, people like Shannon, and I'm sure some of these people that I see in the chat would be like, wow, we're looking right at this specific second in this moment. They're excluding the past achievements and everything. So they're saying, well, right now, during this game, this week, Mahomes plays better. Well, what if next week he plays worse? Now he's not the GOAT. He's the GOAT. He's not the GOAT. I mean, the term GOAT is something bigger than, oh, someone had a great, game. Short term. It's not a short term thing. So, yeah, that's something they talk about too. Yeah. Hey, hey, they're saying no sound. Can they hear you?
Oh, just a second.
You're muted.
Sorry about that. Okay. Apologies, guys. So when I was a kid, there wasn't this obsession with greatest ever. Not near to the point it is today. People had their favorites. People had these guys who they would think are one of the greatest, but it wouldn't be this. Oh, this new up and coming guy. He's the greatest ever. He's all that. People didn't do that. Like in football, when I was growing up, and even in the '90s, you had just great ones. Okay, everyone said, "Oh, Montana, Elway, Marino, Jim Kelly, Warren Moon. These guys are going to be remembered as some of the greats, right? That's kind of how the thinking process went. And then in basketball, it was very similar. Oh, Jordan's awesome, but then you also had Larry Bird, and you had Isaiah Thomas, and you had Magic Johnson, and guys like that. Nowadays,
Right.
it's okay, LeBron does something, he's the greatest of all time. It's like, okay. And then now, every time a new quarterback, do you remember in, it was around like 2012, everyone started saying that Aaron Rodgers is the greatest quarterback we've ever seen. All right. And then after Aaron Rodgers didn't live up to the hype,
Yeah.
and after he failed to win another Super Bowl, and he hasn't since, they had to move on. So they moved on to, believe it or not, there was a time where they were pushing Carson Wentz, and I know that's laughable to think of now, but they were already saying things like Carson Wentz could be the next greatest quarterback. He could, whatever. And then that didn't work out. So now they're on the Patrick Mahomes hype train. And just to let people out there know, especially if you're a young fan, before they did that with Aaron Rodgers, they did it with Peyton. They did it with Peyton Manning. And it's before Peyton Manning, they did it with Favre. And it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And it's at this point where the term GOAT doesn't mean anything when you say it to anybody other than who actually really is the GOAT, which is Tom Brady. Tom Brady is so beyond everything that you can argue. There is nothing you can say that is legitimate to say that he is not the greatest player in NFL history. Before, maybe years ago it was arguable. At least you could make an argument. At least you could have a discussion and say, well, this, okay, well, what about that? What about that? Okay, you could do that. You could go back and forth. But it's been completely obliterated. Completely, absolutely destroyed. And by the time he actually does retire, not only is he going to have all the wins records, he already has those, and the Super Bowls and all that stuff. He's already got all that. He's going to have the touchdown record. He might even have the yard record. We'll see. It depends on what Drew Brees does. But Tom Brady has been able to... The fact that Brady is even in contention with stat whores like Peyton Manning and Drew Brees is quite remarkable. And the reason it's remarkable is because Tom has spent his entire career up until this year playing for a coach whose entire philosophy was not about individual achievement. It was never about stats. It was always about the right call, the right play at the right time. I'll give you an example. There's an argument that's been made about Pete Carroll that, do you remember in 2014 against the Seahawks, Russell Wilson threw that interception and Malcolm Butler picked him off? There is no way that Bill Belichick would have allowed for a pass play in that situation. Okay? It would have been called up as a running play, and they would have won the Super Bowl like that, and they wouldn't have cared who got the glory. But there is a lot of Seahawks and former Seahawks who claim that they did not want Marshawn Lynch being MVP. They wanted Russell Wilson to be MVP. They wanted to make him happen, basically. Now, there's no evidence to prove that. Of course, you can't prove it because you can't prove what a coach's intentions were. But it does kind of make sense a little bit. It fits, at least. I know that. I can also see on the other side of the sequence of events and what they were thinking. But the overlying point here is Tom Brady played for a coach that didn't care about stats. He didn't care about individuality. You've got, well, not only the coach, but you've got Brady who doesn't care. Look at him in Super Bowl 53. In Super Bowl 53, it's 10-3. Actually, let's go back before it was 10-3. It was 3-3, and Tom Brady throws that pass to Gronk, and Gronk puts us right there in scoring range. What do? They run the ball. They give it to Sony Michel. Why would you do that? Because that is a very low percentage chance of something going wrong. When Sony Michel scored that touchdown, Tom Brady went completely nuts. He was acting as if he had scored. He was acting as if he had ran that ball in himself. And then after that, it's 10-3. They need to kick. They need to either kick the field goal or go for it on fourth down. You're telling me that anybody but Tom would have wanted to throw or wanted to keep that drive going. But no, Tom was the one that was telling Bill, let's kick it. Let's kick the field goal and win this thing. Now, at this moment when Tom made that decision, Tom's stat line was 1 interception and no touchdowns. That was his stat line. No touchdowns and 1 pick. And he didn't give a crap. All he could think about was the Lombardi Trophy. And he didn't care about the MVP trophy. He didn't even give a crap who got that. He just wanted the Lombardi. And with that mentality and with that kind of coaching and with that the Patriots team dynamic that is all based off of teamwork and no individuals, and yet he has managed to keep up with stat whores like Peyton and Drew Brees. That is remarkable. It's absolutely remarkable. And he doesn't get enough credit for this. Let's put aside the Super Bowls. Let's put aside all the winning in the playoffs. Take that away, but he still got the career stats. So he statistically is still a 3-time MVP. 3 times. Now the MVP, the regular season MVP, is the scale for how you are as an individual. You don't get the MVP by not being an individual good player or great player. Okay, the MVP is for guys who they're the real deal during the regular season. He's gotten that 3 times. So you can take away his Super Bowls and all of his playoff victories. You could take away every playoff victory. And his regular season career alone is first ballot Hall of Fame. Think about that. First ballot Hall of Famer. No questions asked. If he never had even a playoff victory, he's still a first ballot Hall of Famer. The discussion's over.
Yep. He is the Hall of Famer of the Hall of Famers, basically.
He needs his own wing. He needs his own section, his own area.
Because the difference is huge if you put him together with the other one. So he needs to be another level, the VIP.
Oh my gosh, did I see that Jared is here?
Yeah.
Well. Very happy to hear you, my friend. Awesome. I think all of Legion is here tonight, actually. Yeah, everyone's here. Let's see. What did Jared say? He says, yep. In the history of the NFL, Brady is the unquestioned greatest to ever have laced them up. Yeah, yeah. It's like I said. It's completely. It's a joke at this point. Patriot King, welcome. I've not seen you here before. Um, some random Patriots fan. Hey, you changed your icon. Your SpongeBob. It looks like now. Yeah, Shaq. I've regarding the Pete Carroll. I've never really given Pete a problem about his the the process when which they did before Russell Wilson threw the pick. Firstly, because in that moment you make decisions at a split second, and when Pete Carroll explained himself, the sequence of events, the way he saw them, it does make logical sense. Um, so I don't want to, you know, completely eat his lunch for that. I will say this: after Super Bowl 49, Tom Brady was asked, Tom, if you're in that situation that Russell Wilson was in, would you have checked out of that play? Would you have said, no, we're not going to throw it here, we're going to run it? And Tom smiled real big. He refused to answer. His no answer basically means, yes, I would have checked out of it. But he says, I'm just glad they didn't. And this was at a time where Russell Wilson was a very, very young quarterback. And the Seahawks were more about defense. They were more. It's very similar to Tom's early career. Is when it was about just minimizing the mistakes, just playing good quarterback football. Nothing fancy, nothing flashy, just doing your job. And that was kind of how Russell Wilson was for those years with the Legion of Boom. And then Russell Wilson had to become the team itself, kind of like Brady did around 06 and 07. Brady became all of it, the team was him. So Russell Wilson's actually had that very similar kind of effect. But nobody is going to win like this is the problem, okay? This entire generation that grew up in the 90s, they've seen the Patriots win so much that they think that that's just what it is. They think that's normal. They think that's how it's supposed to be. So it's easy for them to say, oh, look, the Chiefs have a great team together. They're going to win 6, 7 Super Bowls. And it comes from this mentality that everybody thinks it's just simple to do. You guys remember when LeBron James got together with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami? And when they were introduced, LeBron said, we're not going to win one championship. Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, or 7. However many he was talking about. Yeah. How'd that work out? They assumed, because they put a bunch of good players together, that they were going to beat Jordan's Bulls, that they were going to just run off with 6 championships straight. They weren't even Kobe and Shaq's Lakers. Not even close. But that's the mentality now. That's the mentality that this generation has, is because somebody else did it then we've got some talented guys around us. That means we should win too. It should be automatic for us. It should just happen. And they don't understand what went in to this greatness. They don't understand how it happened. Let me tell you something. Everything that goes in to winning 6 Super Bowls. Do you know what had to happen for those 6 Super Bowls? First of all, it didn't take 6 Super Bowls to win 6 Super Bowls. It took 9. It took 9 to get to that point. And 13 AFC Championship victories. I'm sorry, 13 AFC Championship appearances. That alone is ridiculous. To make the Super Bowl, to even get there, it is harder. It's harder to go from week 1 to all the way to get to the Super Bowl than it is to actually win it. So imagine how hard it is to get to the AFC Championship game 13 times. That even gets you into striking distance of the Super Bowl. So many things had to go right. Yes, you needed the right quarterback. Yes, you needed the right head coach. Yes, you needed the right complementary players. Yes, you needed a defense that could do its job for you. You had to manage all this stuff. You know what else you had to do? You had to be consistently good year in and year out. You had to be good all during the regular season so you could get a first round bye. So you would win your division. Okay? You can get a home game. It's not handed to you. It's all earned over time throughout the season. And then, after all the work and after you have all the players and the right guys and the right coaching and everything, once you've got that all figured out, and once you've executed perfectly and all your players are doing the right things, the last little bit that you need is you need your opponent to screw up. You need your opponent to make mistakes and you capitalize on those mistakes. And then along the way, you need some things to happen for you. You need some good luck. There's been bad luck, okay? Bad luck with, the Tyree catch in the Super Bowl or just random weird things happening or whatever it may be. The bad luck can cost you. The good luck can make you a winner. And it just can happen either way. Take a look at the difference between Peyton Manning's performance against the Seahawks or Tom Brady's performance against the Seahawks the very next year. Peyton Manning, the very first play, the snap goes over his head. The very moment that happened, the Denver Broncos were psychologically out of the game. And the very moment that happened, the Seahawks were like sharks with blood in the water. And they're like, oh man, we got this. And that's exactly what happened. So many things have to go correct. So many things. As a Patriots fan and as a Brady fan, I would love to say, oh, it's all 100% skill. No, there is luck involved in everything. There's even luck involved in Jordan's 6 rings. Okay, there's always an element of luck. That's just how it works. And I don't even know if I'd call it luck. I'd just call it causality. Just random things happening, and it's just how it works, You guys remember Edelman's catch? Edelman's catch in Super Bowl 51. Super Bowl 51. That ball could have easily been picked off. So that was batted up in the air, I think, by Robert Alford. If he was in a slightly different body position, he intercepts that ball. If Edelman didn't do that freak of nature, just that catch, the eye contact, and all that, if Edelman was anybody else, that catch might not be made. And he had by the time he had grasped the ball completely and made it a catch, there were 3 Falcons, okay, around him. 3. It just as easily could have flipped up and went into their hands. So, I'm not saying that him catching the ball was luck. That was pure skill. You can watch him watching it. The luck part is that the ball deflected right in an area to where the Falcons couldn't catch it. You need those things. You need those breaks. And everybody has them. And I cannot tell you how many times I have seen a Mahomes pass, he got away with it because a player dropped it or it just deflected right exactly where it needed to be. This happens to everybody. It either goes against you or it helps you. You need all of this stuff to happen. You need all of it to work in order to win 6 Super Bowl titles. Because I'll tell you this. The one thing that can't be altered depending on the era, the one thing that remains the same is winning. Winning is winning. You can argue about stats. You can say, oh, well, Joe Montana played in the 80s and they didn't pass as much, or so that's why he's better than whoever in the modern game, right? The modern game throws a lot more. Whatever. Stupid argument, but still, I know people say that stuff. But the one thing that you have to look at that never changes is winning. Winning is winning. Because when you win in your era, everybody else has got the same advantage. If you're playing in a passing era, so is your opponent. All of your opponents are playing in a passing era as well. But not only that, you're playing a defense, guys who are faster than the guys from the previous generations. They're just better conditioned, better athletes. It's just different. But winning remains the same. Winning and rankings. Okay? So if you are great, you would rank against your peers. That's how you tell. Stats are useful, but when you're ranking guys from different eras, the one thing you need to look at, you need to look at victories, you need to look at consistency of winning, you need to look at things, personal awards, and rankings. Where they were, how were they against their own people, against their own peers, because that will tell you everything you need to know. But it's very hard to get this through to people, to explain this. And people only think, or a lot of people only think one way. They just see stats and flashiness, and that they think that equals greatness. It doesn't.
Torque.
Yeah,
Torque, right?
Exactly. If
That's one of them.
If torque and if flashiness was, the end all be all decision and factor of being the greatest, my God, I mean,
There's even more. Today I was listening again something on the Skip and Shannon was saying, well, sports is not, or football is not about scores and stuff. It's about storyline. Have you heard that one?
wait, who said that?
Storyline.
Who said that?
Really? Shannon. He- Shannon. Yep. It's not about winning and scores and stuff like that. It's about storyline.
What does that mean?
I couldn't believe my ears.
It's
So it's about I don't know, some kind of narrative that has to do within the games with sport machine. I don't know, use your imagination what you can be saying about storyline within a football game. Yep. So, in case you didn't know, that's what it's all about.
I, I, I don't even know what that means. Like, okay, here's one thing I've noticed. People who hate Brady and they want to promote their guy, the favorite guy, because they can't live
Script.
up.
He's part of a script. He's
Well,
an actor.
I'm not just talking about Shannon. I'm talking about anybody. I'm talking about even just football fans. What they do, they all do the same thing. Because their guy can't compete with Brady on a winning level and on a success level, they have to
Wow.
negate that. They have to negate it. So they have to
Come up with
come up with
new
something.
things.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
This all started, and all you guys out there know what I'm talking about. This kind of crap started with Max Kellerman talking about Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers did not accomplish anything close to what he was supposed to accomplish, according to everybody. They had to change the parameters. If you can't win, if your guy cannot produce, then you've got to change the rules. That's how they think. You've got to change the rules. So now GOAT no
Yeah.
longer means the guy who wins a lot and has great stats and just across the board is just great. No, no, no. Now, to be the greatest, it's about the eye test. Okay? You'll hear this. The eye test. The eye test is what makes someone great. What that means is that's a fancy way of saying my guy can't win shit, and the only thing I can do is talk about how cool he looks and how flashy he looks, and that's my argument now. And that's where they go with it. So,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
regarding Patrick Mahomes, I personally believe he will be a Hall of Famer. Okay? I believe that he will make the Hall of Fame. But he's not there yet.
There was a
But he's not
discussion.
there yet.
There was a
Okay?
discussion about it now. Believe it or not.
A discussion about what? That he will make it or he already has?
Yeah, Shannon. Actually, Skip was asking Shannon about it, and Shannon said that there was a discussion about that. We'll find out what they meant by that, but yeah, I won't be surprised. I will not be surprised.
Well, you know what? Maybe Patrick Mahomes is already a Hall of Famer because from what I've seen the last few years, apparently anybody can get into the Hall of Fame. So
Yep, exactly.
maybe the standards have gotten so low that that's the deal now. That's what we do. Maybe that's the case. They seem to be letting anybody in. They're going to let Eli Manning in.
Everyone's a winner. Yep,
So,
everyone's a winner.
yeah. So perhaps he already is then under those things, under those that way of thinking. Used to be to be a Hall of Famer, you had to be just
Exceptional with
I mean beyond
across, right?
exceptional. Yes, you had to be something that was just it was like obvious, and you also needed some at least a bit of time. You needed to
Yeah,
play for a little
you
bit.
gotta prove yourself.
I'm not saying you had to play for 15 years or something, but if you only played a decade, you better have been great every almost every year of that time, or at least accomplished quite a bit in one focused time. Of course, there's always exceptions, but they won't even. This is what I feel bad about for Patrick, as far as not him himself, but the actual situation is that they're not even letting him enjoy his career. Like they're not even letting him just let the guy do what he's supposed to do in order to become those things. I mean, you're putting him in the Hall of Fame and you're calling him things like greatest and all this other stuff when the guy he's brand new. He's a pup. He's a God. He's got
Yeah.
like
Like,
so many
give him
years.
some room to grow,
Yeah, it's
you know.
ridiculous. It, stop plucking the fruit
Let him
before it's
feel
ripe.
the achievements.
Yeah,
Yep. And in fact, they're setting up the expectations too high for him because, he's not that great at every game. He has great games and then he has some
which
kind
is
of
which is pretty much
mediocre,
which is pretty much normal. Um,
Yeah.
not everyone.
So if you
Yeah,
set those high expectations for someone who hasn't proven themselves yet, um, I don't think the result is that great for him and for the audience either. But, they have to have some talking points and create some drama on these talk shows. So he's kind of a victim of the media.
yeah. And what happened was this happened to Aaron Rodgers. So they went so far that when Aaron couldn't live up to it, it kind of people just forgot about him. Now all of a sudden he's playing with a chip on his shoulder and he's playing well, and now people are trying to bring that back. But for years they gave up on him. And let's see, we have a $5 super chat from See It Twice. Thank you so much, man. He says claiming someone that is on track to be a Hall of Famer is already a Hall of Famer is just a safe take. It's just a safe take masquerading as boldness. That's exactly right. It's stating something that looks like it's on an obvious trajectory, but at the same time, you want to look like you predicted it when you didn't. It just has nothing to do with a bold prediction. It's just, you're absolutely right. Well said.
This is another funny thing I heard today is that how Brady last last season a lot of people were dropping the balls, they were not catching the ball,
Oh,
and
yeah.
basically he didn't have good weapons. That was the top. I mean, that was the reality of it, and everyone was dropping. Even Edelman started dropping, and then game in the Tom
Yeah.
Brady's game with the Bucs,
Yeah.
people were dropping the balls.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean,
Edelman was,
we
I
know the
think, I,
facts.
I
Who
think
who
Edelman had the most drops last year of any player.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. He won by having the most drops, and this year, actually, he's kind of working on it again. he's he's kind of getting there with the rankings. But
Have you ever
this
thought that?
funny thing I heard today also was that, see, the reason, what is the common denominator, Shannon says, of why people are dropping the balls both at the Patriots and at the Bucs? Well, apparently it's Tom Brady.
Wait, what?
And they're not even saying it's because he throws it badly. It's because people are sort of intimidating for catching the goat ball. That's like the funniest thing I've heard in a
Are you
while
serious?
today. No, that was an actual discussion on a, as they say, premium, TV channel.
Is that a joke?
No, no, that's Skip and Shannon.
Well, then
Premium.
how do they explain the drops this year for the Patriots?
Well, um, they didn't have a good explanation exactly for that.
Well, okay, how
But I
about this? How about this?
suppose they'll
If
find one.
if you're a player and you are so intimidated by Tom Brady that you drop the ball, maybe you shouldn't be a professional football player. That would be absolutely pathetic if that was the case.
Yeah.
Is that supposed to be some kind of indictment against Brady?
Yeah. That's the Shannon one.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Okay.
Is your mic a bit low? People are saying your mic's low. Check your mic.
Yeah, hang on just a second.
So
Okay.
yeah, that was pretty ridiculous. But yeah, Shannon will come up with things like that just to have talking points.
Yeah.
Things against Brady. It's just very, very funny.
Thank you, Sissy Chubbs. Exactly. Sissy Chubbs says a drop is literally a very accurate pass that's not completed. And I know this is going to sound like I'm stating the obvious, but just to be clear, the only way that a pass can be counted as a drop is if it was accurate, if it was right on the money, if it was right there where it should have been. Drops are the one stat that is literally designed to say this isn't the quarterback's fault. It's the one stat that says this incompletion does not count against the quarterback. So to argue that the drops are because of the quarterback, that might be the dumbest thing I've ever heard Shannon say, and he said a lot of dumb crap. So, Mr. A, $5 super chat. He says, "Hit the like button, people. Thank you, Levar. Appreciate it, man. I love his glasses. Have you seen his Batman glasses?
Oh yeah, yeah, those are cool. I've seen them. Your mic is low.
Still?
That's what people are saying. Mic is unplugged.
I don't understand. I have it all the way up.
How is it now, guys? Oh, other people can hear you though. Huh.
That's strange. Okay, let me, Milena, I'm gonna, I'm gonna quit out Skype and then you call back, okay?
Okay.
I'll call you back and see if that fixes it. Okay, guys, how's that? Can you hear me good? Yay? One, two, hello, hello. One, two. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? Was so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming. Still? I don't know what to do. I mean, this software. I, okay, how about that? How about that? Is that better or worse? Yeah, it's not the microphone. The what happens is that um, when I use Skype and then it opens up, the software wigs out, and then it's this Ecamm Live. And by the way, they should be paying me to use this garbage. So, okay, yeah, I had to switch microphones completely. So, just to change it. It's ridiculous. I'm just honestly, I'm so tired of so many mistakes and equipment failing, software failing. Skype never works right, half the time. It's also very annoying. See if I can get Milena back here. Okay, hopefully that'll fix it, or everything's good now. Sorry about that, guys. I can't stand it. When I get back to the United States, we are going to do a complete overhaul of the system, new software, new computer that's designed exactly for this. Uh, a new setup where none of this crap happens anymore. I am so tired of it, and I really apologize, guys. So you would think that this equipment would, I mean, they charge enough. They charge a lot for this crap. So, but I I don't see any reason why we cannot defeat the Denver Broncos with Jarrett Stidham. I'm not entirely sure about Brian Hoyer. I don't really know, but I do wonder how that game would have gone. How that game would have gone against the Chiefs had Cam played, of course, but also had the Patriots not weren't able to practice, and then they had to play on the same day they traveled. Even with all those things, that game was still pretty decent. The team overall, I think, did pretty good. So,
Yeah, absolutely, given all these circumstances. No.
okay. So I'm gonna pull up. Let's make some picks here. Okay, and as you guys know, Thursday night already happened. The Thursday night game, the Bears defeated the Buccaneers 20-19. I think y'all know my opinion on that one. But we have the LA Rams at the DC Criminals. Speaking of the Patriots, who wants to make a who wants to predict the chances of Julian Edelman being traded to the Buccaneers before the trade deadline? Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm asking you guys what you think. I heard this proposed is why I'm asking it. But what do you honestly believe? Not what you want to happen, but what do you believe the actual chances of Belichick trading Julian Edelman to the Buccaneers? Tell me what you think. As again, nothing to do with what you want, just based on what you think will actually happen. Yeah, Mr. A. Tom Brady has to miss the disciplinary skill level of Bill Belichick because Bruce Arians does not have it. No, he doesn't. It's a freaking nightmare. If Tom doesn't take over, if Tom doesn't take over the discipline for the offensive players, I mean, he can't do nothing about the other sides of the ball. But he's got to. He's going to have to do something because Mike Evans is still arguing with players. He's an idiot. And now the offensive linemen are headbutting guys. It's just out of control. But we've got the Rams at the DC Criminals. Now, Alex Smith isn't getting the start yet, but he's now been promoted to backup. Uh, but I believe they're still going with Allen for that game. Um, the Rams are one of those weird teams that, like, if they're at home and they don't have to travel, they're you can pick them against a team like the Criminals, but I'm gonna say the DC Criminals pull the upset. They're probably gonna get a victory out of this. Now, I would tell you what I would like to see. I would love to see Alex Smith play. I want to see him get in there. So here's to hoping that Allen doesn't do very well and Alex Smith gets to get in there because I've got to see that. So we have the Philadelphia Eagles uh, at the Pittsburgh Steelers. That is going to be a beatdown. The Steelers are going to crush the Eagles. Cardinals at Jets. Oh God. Okay. Um, yeah. Is that a joke? Milena, your favorite player, the football baby.
Oh yeah,
I'm Kyler Murray. I'm a little
Kyler
football
Murray.
baby. I'm a football baby.
Hey, we got a couple of super chats.
Oh, nice. Hey, Brandon, he's back. The Canadian is back. She's a $5 super chat. He says, "Sup, Vaughn? What's up, Brandon? How are you doing? Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate your support from our good neighbors to the north, Canada." And Mr. A sends a $5 super chat that says, "The DC Criminals." You like that? I think I think that's the best name for them. It fits, right? Uh, so
Yeah.
so so basically, yeah, the football baby is going to beat the New York Jets. God, they're garbage. Wow, they're just so bad. Raiders at Chiefs. I mean, I like the fact that the Raiders seem to not be as sloppy as they were in the past. It's kind of cool to see them playing, decent. I think they're going to get their ass kicked. I mean, I don't know. But okay, division games are weird. Uh, Weird things can happen with division games, so you never know. but I just don't trust the Raiders for anything. I don't trust them at all. They are one of those teams, the very definition of flip-flop teams. Like one week is good, the next week sucks. I don't trust them for anything. I certainly ain't going to trust them in Kansas City, but we'll see. Jaguars at Texans. Could this be more of a yawn game? I mean, this game sucks so bad. This matchup is so terrible that they should probably not even televise it just to make sure that they don't damage the image of the product. I mean, the Jaguars against the Texans, that is just garbage. That is complete garbage. But in this case, Bill O'Brien's not the coach anymore, but yet the Jaguars have the stash. And Gardner Minshew, you want to talk about goats? He's the next goat. Okay. Well, the goat of being awesome. So it's not going to be enough. The Houston Texans are going to get their first victory of the season in Houston against the Jacksonville Jaguars without Bill O'Brien. Bengals at Ravens. Okay. Um, I'm going to defer to Elliot here, who's known as Ravens 52 Ray Lewis. I do know that I say that division games are tough, but this is just going to be a mauling. This is going to be embarrassing. Okay. Let's see here. Panthers at Falcons. This is kind of funny because we all know what the Falcons have been up to. They've been the team that can get a lead and then just fall apart. So if only they did that in reverse, right? I got Atlanta getting their first win of the season. Dolphins at 49ers. Man, San Francisco's quarterback situation is complete garbage. Watching their quarterback play, it's like watching Brian Hoyer out there. It's bad, 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 bad. But I don't know what to think of the Dolphins, and I don't like the Dolphins going from Florida all the way to San Francisco, or Santa Clara, I should say. They can't even be called the San Francisco 49ers anymore because their stadium's so damn far away. But I'm going to pick the 49ers. I just think that they're just the better team all the way around, and they're at home, even without their starting quarterback. Giants at Cowboys. Okay, let me tell you something. If you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, I just want to say if you lose this game, you are just massively embarrassing. I mean, you're already in the most garbage division. If you can't beat the 0-4 Giants, God have mercy on your soul. But I'm going to pick the Cowboys for this one. Now, I know I picked two other teams already to get their first win of the season, but it will not be the Giants. Colts at Browns. Ha, Eddie. I don't see Eddie here tonight, but I'm pulling for you, man. But one thing I will not count on, okay, is the Browns doing one thing good one week and then following that up with another good thing. That is not, that is absolutely not what they do. That is not their MO. I do not trust them to have 2 weeks in a row like that The Colts, the Colts win big tomorrow in Cleveland. Sunday Night Football. This normally would have been I could see when the schedule was made that this looked like a good matchup, but it's really not. The Vikings are going to Seattle. This is going to be one of those Sunday Night Footballs that we thought would be a good matchup, but then ended up not being one. And that's going to be one of these situations. The Seahawks are going to beat down the Vikings. Broncos at Patriots. This is a very winnable game for New England. The Broncos are just not there. I mean, yes, Von Miller not being there is a big difference maker, but they don't even have Drew Lock. Although Mark Rippon's nephew um, doesn't look too bad actually, so that's good. But it's not enough. Not in New England. It's not going to happen. I don't care who starts for New England. We're winning that one. Chargers at Saints. Now, obviously, I'm going for the Chargers because if the Chargers can beat the Saints, it will nullify the debacle of Thursday night when Brady lost to the Bears, because that should have been a game that's one of those games on your schedule that you have to win. So to equalize that, the Chargers need to beat the Saints. I really, really like what I'm seeing from Justin Herbert. He seems to be getting better each week. And this goes against my better judgment of a Western team that's not very good, going all the way across the country. This is my bold prediction of the week. I say the Chargers defeat the Saints. And then we have Tuesday night football. How weird does that sound, right? Tuesday night football. The Bills at Titans. Well, with the Titans having a lot of players who couldn't practice, and they weren't even supposed to be practicing at all, now that we found out that, I don't know how much of a difference that's going to make. Obviously, people are thinking the Bills should go in there and take care of business. I think the Bills, I have nothing against them, but I just don't think they are as good as everyone thinks they are. I think they're going to lose to the Titans. So there you have it. Let me know if you agree, disagree. Let me see what you guys are saying. Mr. A, I got the Falcons up 35-0 in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes to go, and the Falcons blow the lead, and the Panthers win 42-35. That would be absolutely sad, but wow, a lot of new people tonight. Pale Reaper, hey, welcome. Oh yeah, Gardner Minshew, the goat. Yeah, it's a long running joke I have here. Um, yeah, when I call Gardner Minshew the goat, I don't mean of quarterbacks. I just mean of he's the goat of just not giving a crap, and I like just his style. So, but yeah, definitely, I didn't mean that as a quarterback. So, Tony Ray, welcome. Corey Ottinger, welcome. Nice to see new people here. I love it. Welcome back, Matt. What's this? See it twice says, I do hope Mahomes is free of any COVID. Is there some kind of, hmm, Man, I just wish this thing would get over with. I'm so sick of it. Will the Pats pay Cam Newton? Why should they? No, I don't think I don't think you I don't think you get in any kind of situation regarding money with him right now. It's way too soon. Way too soon. Wait, what? Pale Reaper, are you just kidding around or are you serious? You got to be kidding.
Which part?
He says the Titans are disqualified from the Super Bowl. Joking. But hey, you never know anymore. I mean, things that used to seem like a joke end up being true sometimes. So the world's all gone cuckoo, but that wouldn't make any sense. So, but it is the NFL after all. Hmm. Yeah, that's true. Mahomes had the interaction with our players. Yeah, he might not even find out. So, thank you, Bitcoin. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Nightwalker. Appreciate that. Yeah, Nightwalker. What he posted here is a link to the new channel called Von Allen POV, and that's a channel where we can talk about anything outside of sports. It's a channel just for whatever we want to talk about. It could be politics, music, movies, whatever. In fact, we're trying to plan a movie watching party pretty soon for that channel. So that should be funny. All of us watching a movie together at the same time. That's going to be ridiculous. Has there hasn't there been a fuss about Brady not shaking Foles' hand? Yeah, but there's a fuss about everything that Tom does or doesn't do. At this point, seriously, man, at this point, I'm almost becoming numb to anything that is said about Tom. Okay, like I only comment it now because it's in the news cycle and that's what we do. But as far as feeling personally, I have such a low opinion of the press and these analysts on TV. I have such a low opinion of them that anything they say, I just, again, I may comment about it because that's my job. But as far as getting, like, feeling something, it's just, it's so predictable now. It's just so ridiculous. I just, the, the, the hatred for Brady is just something I've never seen before. Ruin Nation, welcome. We have a Broncos fan in the house. Damn, I I hated that Von Miller was out for the year. That sucks. He's my favorite defensive player. Has been for a while, but I tell you what, I mean, it was nice that he wasn't lighting Tom Brady up. Uh, but overall, though, at the end of the day, I'm still a football fan, and I want to see the best players out there. Um, I'm I'm one of these. I'm not one of those guys that just because they're playing my favorite player or my favorite team or something like that, that I'm like glad or hoping that they're going to be out. I don't do that. That's ridiculous. Yes, Tom Brady text message Nick Foles after the Super Bowl. Yeah, Sissy Chubbs, I get it. I get it. It's hard to let people just walk around being that dumb. But what I've learned is you can't tell people's intentions every time. Like there's people who don't believe a word they're saying and they just say it just to be getting a rise out of somebody. So you don't even know if arguing with them is effective because they might not even believe the bad things they're saying about Tom. And then you've got the other people who are just so stupid that no matter what you say, you could make the world's greatest argument and have the best evidence right in front of their faces, and it makes no difference because they're pure emotion. They're all emotion and there's no analytical side to them. There is no just the part of us that requires critical thinking without our personal feelings. And then you've got the few that I hold accountable because I know they know better. One of them is Max Kellerman. He is one of those cases where I know he's serious. So he actually means what he says. He hates Tom Brady. He hates him, massively hates him. And so he's serious when he says the stuff he says. Now, he'll say certain things that are a little over the top. That's his job. But as far as the source of it, where it's coming from, is a real thing. He legitimately does hate Tom. But Max is one of those people that I'm talking about that I can't let them get away with it, because they know better. They know better. They should know better. There's no excuse for being that stupid. So yeah, Matt, good point. You watch flat earthers argue with scientists. Can you guys believe that there are people who think the earth is flat? I mean, I remember a few years ago when someone had told me about this, and I thought it was a joke. You know, I come from, I guess, a time where our teachers used the earth being flat as a joke. Like I remember it was funny. They said, back before they knew the earth was round, they always thought that if they kept sailing, they'd fall off the edge. I remember learning that joke in elementary school. And then about, I don't know how long ago it was when I heard about it, maybe a decade ago, someone had told me that the earth was flat, was like gaining traction, it was becoming like a real thing. And I had to look into it myself just to see because I thought they were joking, like it's just idiots. Basically, I thought it was another moon landing conspiracy type thing. These people are serious. Milena, don't you have a friend who believes the earth is flat?
Yeah, I do. And the scariest thing is that there's so many of them. It's It's like a whole community.
Well, see, that's the thing, Matt. When we tell this guy, so she told this guy, okay, the Earth is flat. Well, what about gravity? You know what he said? Well, gravity's not real.
Yeah.
Okay, gravity's not real. So we had to really
What?
go down the rabbit hole to figure out just how insane this guy is. What else did he say, Milena? He was talking about uh, the World Trade Center, something about the World Trade Center.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It was just something really
yeah. Of
crazy.
course,
Like I know there's a lot of
there was a
conspiracy theories, but
cartoon
this one was like,
that it was a that it was a cartoon.
oh yeah, yeah, CGI. So he said that the World Trade Center and all that was a bunch of CGI. Okay, dude, if you once you start thinking like that, now listen, I have nothing against having people questioning stuff. It's a good thing to question. You should never take things as always just as face value. You should be inquisitive. You should be curious. That's a good thing. But like with anything, too much
Yeah,
is bad.
too crazy.
Too crazy.
Okay, so there's a difference between if this was an inside job or if someone was involved and planned and instigated for any of these cases, and if it really happened, you know. So basically, these people are saying, you know, these conspiracy theorists are saying that it didn't happen, that it was all a cartoon, and all these people are fake, and etc. So I don't know.
Okay. Well, like you said it perfectly. Okay.
Gravity theory is where he really lost me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You said it perfectly. That there is a level of questions that are legitimate or reasonable. I'd say not legitimate, but reasonable. Okay. So a reasonable conspiracy would be that someone we have a traitor in our government. Okay, that's reasonable. It doesn't mean it's true, but it's at least when it comes to conspiracy theories, that is at least believable to a certain extent. If you look at all of the stuff they present, right? But
right.
then there's the part that's not believable, which is what you were saying, and it goes into complete retarded mode. You know, like ridiculous. And
I think
it's
it's
kind of like that
yeah,
with the um, well, they do that with the moon landing too. So don't
yeah. And even if
if
it's realistic,
someone just says, hey, I I wonder if they lied about the moon landing or whatever. I'm like, okay, whatever, fine, you know. But when they actually start talking about it, the more ridiculous they sound, and that's my problem. They go too far. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's
they pick something, some part, you know, some kind of doubt or um, a small truth, and then they expand on it and go completely crazy. And this is just a way of thinking, I think. And it applies to football as well. It applies to everything. It's just the way you see the world, where you don't think logically and don't need real facts and arguments in order to believe something. You're completely well biased, but then in the case of the flat earthers of that, it's just a whole other level, a new level of crazy.
well that's what I'm
So
saying. There again, there are conspiracy theories that have good substance and makes and are reasonable but then you take it too far and it goes into like ridiculous levels.
yeah,
And trust me, there are a lot of things that I personally believe didn't happen the way they showed, but I stay within parameters of reality. Okay.
yeah, and sometimes it's
It's
okay not to have an answer, and instead of making up an answer that is too crazy as as cartoon characters, for example.
Uh, to fake the moon landing, first of all, it would have been more expensive and more difficult to fake the moon landing in 1969 than it would have been just to do it. Okay, that's that that's the problem there. But I mean, we could get into this all day long, and it's probably a perfect topic for Von Allen POV. In fact, we should all move over there, and then we could have a crazy conversation about all this stuff. We could just go. I'll go all night with
Yeah.
you if you guys, all of y'all, all 30 of you, if you all move over to Von Allen POV, uh, I would be happy that we could carry on a crazy ass conversation about whatever y'all want. Okay, but yeah, the as far as the moon landing, I could just I can destroy that all day long. We did land on the moon in 1969. It was not fake. That's absurd. Um, but World Trade Center, I think. So here's the part where what I'm talking about, where it's okay to believe in a conspiracy theory or think, and then you go too far. I believe that 9/11 could not have been done without a traitor in our government. Somebody on the inside, okay? So that's where I draw the line, though. I don't know who was involved. I don't know who in our government was involved, but somebody was. I believe that, okay? Somebody sold their country out, and it may be more than one person. So that is where I'm at as far as that goes. I do believe there were traitors, but I'm not willing to go so far as to say who was involved. I'm not going to, the president or Jewish businessman in New York. I've heard that one, or just all kinds of crazy stuff, right? I don't know. So, but my opinion about is there someone in our government that did this or helped or was involved? The reason I feel that way is because the kind of job that they pulled off and how they did it and how they were able to accomplish this, it took somebody inside our government to be able to make certain decisions in order for those things to happen. What their reasons were, who knows? I mean, do I have personal theories on that? Of course, but I have I strongly believe that there were people on the inside that helped with this, and they were at high levels. They had to have been high enough levels to keep to confuse the situation, within the Pentagon and things like that. But there you go. So, but things like this relates to anything, even in football. Well, Deflategate is somewhat of a conspiracy theory, right? Like some kind of, we all have our theories about why someone did something or whatever. Deflategate was proven to be fake. So, and unfortunately, there's other things that we can't prove. Like, I don't personally, I don't believe that JFK was killed by the um, original story that they portray. I think that was an inside job. So it just depends based on the evidence. Hell Reaper asks Madden series. I don't really play Madden. I used to. I used to play Madden. What happened was is that what had happened was
what had happened was after I started committing to playing and trying to, get better as a player, and started getting matched up on Xbox Live with other players, I noticed something that if you were just willing to pay enough money, it didn't matter how good you were or how skilled you were. You could just, stack a team because you were willing to pay X amount of dollars to have a great team. And that's not the only problem, but it took kind of some of the fun out of it, because I would get matched up with people who are technically my skill level, but they would have a 99 rated Tom Brady, and I would have, some backup quarterback loser, but it's not just that, the lack of gamesmanship, and it's just, you beat a guy, or you're beating a guy, and then they quit out of the game, and that's frustrating. It was just, there was a lot of, it was just, the fun was being taken out of it. And I don't know how they would fix that. I don't know if they can, or if that's something that they've worked on. But that was years ago that I felt that way. I haven't really been involved since, but I would like to. I think what would be fun is if we, and maybe this is what you're referring to, maybe if we create a Von Allen Sports Madden community, to where all of us involved, we set the parameters for what the game is. And if we set the rules on what you can do, like what players you can have, and all this stuff, if we kind of fix that, that could be fun. What do you think, Milena? Would you like to learn how to play Madden?
Yeah, that'd be interesting. We can, talk about it
Yeah.
and see how it can work.
Yeah, Jeff. Regarding conspiracies with the NFL, back in the '60s. Oh man. Well, see, football, before, sports were seen like horse racing and boxing and things like that, like things you could rig. Sports were seen as, organized crime had their hands in it. Um, the owners were people involved in gambling themselves. It was a different time, and sports were seen as just a vehicle um, to exploit for rigging it and things like that. But now sports have become so high profile. See, back then you could get away with stuff like that. You could rig a game, and no one saw it, no one cared, um, and there was no, all eyes were not on you. You could just do this thing and get away with it, and nobody knows the difference. So now it's impossible, because you'll get caught uh, so easily. And the thing with the NFL is, if they were caught rigging games, okay, if they actually were caught and there was proof, it would absolutely destroy the sport. It would completely, overnight, it would just completely wreck it. And that risk, the reward that you would gain, the so-called extra reward you would gain from rigging games, is not worth the amount you would lose if you got caught. So just the risk versus reward ratio is so lopsided. I'd have trouble believing that they would be that crazy, that stupid to do that. Not with the way the world is, with everyone watching, constant 24/7 media attention. Everyone's watching you 24/7, just all that. But yeah, I think it's very difficult now. Not saying that this doesn't happen. I'm sure there are crooked people in the NFL who do bad things, but the NFL as an entity behind planning these things, that's, you can't stop a ref from going rogue and being paid off and doing his own thing. We saw that in the NBA with Tim Donaghy. Him, and I'm sure he had friends, ref friends who were in on it too. They just didn't get caught, but you can have that. But as an organization, I just don't believe that they're that stupid uh, to risk it, because that would be the dumbest thing of all time to get caught doing that. The biggest thing that that I bring up when people talk about rigging games and the NFL rigging games, and they think, oh, this game they wanted the Patriots to win, or Vegas wanted the Giants to win, or the Eagles, whatever. Okay, I've found and I've noticed that the people who say that really don't understand how Vegas works. When you're gambling, when you're a company like a casino company that takes in, or I should say, a sports book. When you're a sports book, you don't care who wins. Okay, your job is to get a balance on either side. You want a balance as far as the amount of bets on both teams, because if you lose, you want that other side to be able to pay off the winning side, so you don't have to. Your real money is from commissions on the transactions and things like that, which in some sports books they call it juice. What is the juice? Juice. Okay, so if you're an avid gambler, you know what that is. You look for a sports book that says, only a 5% juice or whatever, and that means they get a percentage of what you win. That is where their money. That's where they look to make their money. It's kind of similar to, well, no, I was going to say it's kind of similar to how a bank makes money. If you're paying for a checking account and it's free, well, how do they make any money? Well, they make money in other places by investing your money, using it, moving it around, and things like that. But but it's not exactly the same thing. But that's what these sports books do. So if everyone's betting heavily on the Patriots, they want money to go on the other team. So they'll change the odds. They'll change the odds in order to give incentive to bettors to go back to the other side. They just want to know that there's equal money on each side to pay off the other one. Basically, they want you, when you lose, they want your losing money to pay off the guys who win, so they don't have to. And that's the key right there. So there is no point to this. There is no, um, you know, Vegas wanted them to win. I've seen big channels, known channels, like Toilet Paper Sports, or I mean, sorry, Total Pro Sports, do videos on this saying, oh, they wanted the Patriots. Vegas won because the Patriots beat the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Idiot. They don't care. They don't care. Okay? So, yeah, see it twice. Absolutely. Game 6 of the Lakers Kings. That was one of those games that was rigged by the refs. Yeah. And am I saying that it's possible that a league would go that far and do something? If your commissioner was willing to do that, he could probably set something like that up. But my thinking is, wow, you would have to be the dumbest person to have that kind of a job, getting paid that kind of money, and you do something like that, and you get caught. Oh my God, it is over. I mean, not only do you lose your job, you're remembered as a piece of crap forever, and you've ruined the sport entirely. Uh, It's just, I just refuse to believe that these guys are that stupid. But hey, you never know. You never freaking know. We have a $2 super chat from Trev. Hey man, how's it going? He says Von Allen Sports best fan base live stream. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that, man.
I think we
You
have
guys are
another
awesome.
one.
Oh, damn. Another one back to back. Trav says Roger and 31 pieces of the pie have BDS. That's absolutely true. Uh, and they have PDS as well. They have Patriots derangement syndrome. They hate Bill Belichick. Oh my God, they hate them. They hate them. They hate him. It's it's bad.
And he's not part of the union, right?
Sorry, what'd you say?
I thought he was not part of their union.
Belichick, right. Exactly. So Belichick is the only one of the coaches now, uh, the only one left, I believe, that's not part of the coaches union. He doesn't believe in that for whatever reason. Also, the same kind of the similar reasons why he wears ugly clothes. The reason he cuts off his sleeves and everything, he always looks like a homeless guy. That's not done. People think that's done because that's his that's his fashion style, or that's he doesn't give a crap. He that's not what he's doing. He dresses like that because it's a protest against the NFL, because he says the NFL should not be allowed to dictate how a grown ass man, a head coach, should be able to dress. Because
Right.
what happened was the NFL made the coaches start wearing the branded equipment, the apparel with, depending on who was the sponsor at the time, Nike, Reebok, whatever. And they required the coaches to wear all the logos and everything and the brand. In reality, Belichick wants to dress up nice. He wants to wear his father's fedora, and he wants to wear a suit, and he wants to dress like the old school guys, like, Vince Lombardi and Paul Brown and guys like that. Belichick likes that, but they won't let him do that. So they say you have to wear the apparel, you have to wear the logo, and he's like, okay, well, screw you, since you're trying to tell me I'm a grown ass man, you're trying to tell me how I could dress, which is stupid. All right, I'll do what you asked me to, but I'll do the bare minimum. In fact, I'll even make it look like crap. So that's why he wears nasty sweaters. Sometimes you'll see his sweater has the logo is removed. Okay, it's like completely gone. He doesn't care because he's doing it on purpose. When you saw that sweater he had on with the holes all in it recently, dude, he did that. That's on purpose. That is to show how ridiculous he finds a lot of the things that the NFL does. And he's an outsider. He's an outsider, and they hate him for it. They do not like outsiders. It's the same with anything. If you're outside the clique, and if you're outside of what everyone thinks that things should be done, you're resented. And when someone like Belichick not only goes against what they stand for, but wins a lot, oh man, that makes them hate him even more. So the hatred is just at insane levels. So if you if you want to see how Bill really dresses, watch watch his outfits during Super Bowl week, and if you see him getting on a plane, and it's not only just NFL situation, but he's traveling and going to places. He at times will wear his father's clothes, so he'll wear his dad's hat, or he'll wear his one of his dad's suits. That what you see there, that gives you an idea of what Belichick really would like to do if they would let him. If the NFL got rid of this stupid rule where the coaches had to wear it, stuff like that, then Belichick would be dressed nice. He would be wearing a nice shirt and a tie and stuff like that. So probably not a hat, because you have the headphones. He wouldn't be able to, unless he wore, well, he wouldn't be wearing a baseball cap because that wouldn't go together. But yeah, that's what he would be doing. So, I mean, that's just what's funny about the whole thing is Belichick actually does have style. He actually does want to dress nice, but he goes completely the other way as a protest. So, and I'm completely in agreement with him. Oh, I know why he's in the Madden. He's not in Madden. It's the coaches union. He's not in the coaches union. So the EA Sports, who makes the Madden game, they have a contract uh, for the players. They have a contract with the NFLPA, the Players Association, so those players get uh, royalties or you know. Um, and of course, they have a deal with the NFL itself to use the logos and the team names and all that. But then the coaches, they need a deal with the coaches union. So they strike a deal with the coaches union. But since Belichick is not in the union, there's no deal for him. So they have to make up uh, a generic coach, some fake name or whatever. Sometimes it's some random guy's name, and then sometimes it just says New England coach. If you guys remember, Sean Payton used to also not be in the game, and that's because he wasn't in the coaches union either, but apparently he joined. So, my father didn't believe in unions either. Um, I so there's arguments for why people don't join unions. There's some people who are just anti-union, and some people who are not. And Belichick is one of those guys, um, for whatever reason. I don't know his reasons, but I will tell you this: Bill Parcells was like that. Parcells was not a union guy, and it just so happened that Belichick and Sean Payton were not union coaches union either. Well, Sean Payton eventually became one, but he wasn't at first. And both of those guys uh, were coached under Parcells. So it makes me believe that Parcells had something to do with that, meaning his Parcells' reasons for not being in the union with it. So, oh yeah, that's another thing um, about conspiracy theories. I don't like when people go one way or the other. Uh, there's people who think that coronavirus is going to create zombies and we're all going to die, and then there's the other side who thinks coronavirus doesn't even exist. You know, you've got to find a middle ground where, yes, it exists, you take it seriously, but you don't act like the world is ending. And that's exactly why I don't moderation, people, moderation. So yeah, Elliot, Sean Payton coached under Parcells in Dallas. Yeah. A lot of guys came up under Parcells, an incredible amount. Tom Coughlin was a Parcells guy. So what's funny about Sean Payton being with Parcells in Dallas is that Sean Payton was supposed to be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys. How idiotic of them. They went with Wade Phillips to replace Parcells, and then Sean Payton ends up going to New Orleans. You think Jerry Jones would like to have that back? You guys will find this funny. I remember when Wade Phillips was the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and the Cowboys had this great season. I think it was '07, and Tony Romo was, had all these stats and everything, was going good for them. And people were trying to get Jason Garrett, who was the offensive coordinator at the time. They were trying to get Jason Garrett to be a head coach of their team. And Jerry Jones didn't want to lose Jason Garrett, but he didn't want to fire Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips was under contract as well. And so Jerry Jones gave Jason Garrett a better deal. And Jason Garrett ended up being paid more than Wade Phillips. So this was a situation where the offensive coordinator made more than the head coach. Yes, that did happen. And of course, as you know, Jason Garrett went on to be the head coach and was a disaster. And I say disaster because I base a coach's success or worthiness based off of the kind of players and the kind of team he had. Like if you say, okay, well, Hugh Jackson is a bad coach or whatever. Okay, well, who did he have on the Bengals or the Browns? Sorry, not the Browns. Who did he have to work with, really? I mean, so no one really thinks of that. Yeah, he's a bad coach, but whatever. But with Jason Garrett, the reason he's a failure is because he had great players. Okay, these Cowboys teams have had some great players come through there. I mean, we're talking some rosters that if you had given those rosters to Tom Coughlin or Belichick or even Andy Reid or somebody like that, my God, okay? And the fact that they can't even get back to the NFC Championship game with all of these players that have come through is a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. So with Jason Garrett, you could say, oh, okay, well, they won some games and they got to the playoffs a few times. That's not good enough. Okay? That's good enough if you had a roster that was garbage. Okay? Then I would say, okay, that's quite admirable. All right? But when you have these rosters that are just awesome, these great players, and you suck, dude, no, you better be not only good, you better be awesome. You better be winning the division easily and going to the playoffs and going far in the playoffs or something. So it's, yeah. Yeah, the list goes on. You can make a Pro Bowl team out of a list of guys the Cowboys have had on their team since 2007. You take 2007 up until now, you could just pluck guys off of the roster and then create your own Pro Bowl team. It's ridiculous. Hey, Milena, did anybody go subscribe on the Von Allen POV channel
When? Yeah,
tonight?
we have
Did
some
you
new
check?
subscribers.
Really? Yeah. Well, I'm proposing if you guys want to move over to the Von Allen POV channel, uh, we can have some fun discussions if you guys would like. Um, if you're not up for it, that's cool too. Um,
Yeah, we can
but
either
I'm
now or we can do it on another night. Yeah.
now, either way, I just you know I'm here. I'm awake. So you know, it's 5 a.m. here. I know it's different for you guys, but as far as football, I'm all talked out on football tonight. But if you guys want to move the conversation over to Von Allen POV, just go on uh, YouTube. I'm going to write it in the comments here. And what I'll do is after I get off here, I'll start up a new live show under that account. And we can have a conversation. You can call in. We can it's just a fun, open discussion. It's not anything as formal as this. So thank you, Nightwalker, for putting the link in again. How much do refs get paid? I have no idea. Welcome, by the way, David. I've not seen you here before. An awesome icon. I love that flag that you got there. That's cool. Yeah, Bitcoin. It is kind of weird that the Cowboys are still in the NFC East. That's it's kind of bizarre, right? So yeah, move over if you want to be a part of the discussion. Move over to Von Allen POV and subscribe there. So if you subscribe there, that lets me know that you did move over, uh, and then we can do that. Okay. So, but as far as tonight's show for Von Sports, um, thank you guys so much for all your super chats tonight and your great conversation tonight. I really enjoyed it. Um, if I don't see you over on the POV channel here in a few minutes, I hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy the football tomorrow and Monday. And then if I don't see you on POV, I'll see you Monday night for mine and Shaq's Patriots postgame show. Okay? Until then, you guys have a good night. And I'll be starting the POV here in about 10 minutes. Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
And if you're new here, please subscribe to this channel and like, the videos. And we hope to see you soon. Every Saturday at.
I'm thinking about moving the time to
Yeah.
7 p.m. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Have a good night, guys. Thank you.